Welcome back to the Convo Couch, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And it's Sunday Fun Day, and we know there's so many people online today that we figured we'd get on. Instead of waiting to talk about the Tulsi stuff tomorrow, we figured we'd hit it with it today. So, fam, controversial tweet. Let's break it down. I'll get it up for you right there, my bad.
Man, I first of all, let me just start by saying that I think people need to take a step back and stop reacting emotionally to every single tweet a politician says or does, myself included. You know, sometimes it's easy to fall into that kind of like reactionary mode where you read something and it's like, oh, I can't believe she said this. She's canceled. And it's like, come on, guys, like, let's take a step back and look at things from a different perspective. So we're going to give you all the information. We had a poll that we asked you guys how you felt about her tweet because it was controversial for many people. And so we're going to just kind of go over the whole thing. So first, fam, we have Tulsi's tweet. You want to go ahead and read the first part?
It says, Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris, Joe Biden did not celebrate or coddle segregationists. His critics have unfairly misrepresented his important message to score cheap political points. I agree with Jim Clyburn of South Carolina and Joe Biden. In order for Congress and the president to get things done for the American people, there needs to be civility in Washington and in the country. The ability to work with those who we disagree with, even those who hold some views which we abhor. In order for Congress to work for the American people, we need to find common ground with each other. This is not possible without civility. We don't need another president who's going to continue to divide our country. We need a president who will unite us. United we stand, and divided we fall.
And then she added something else to her Facebook, which Johnny pointed out really well. And she said, as a woman of color, it would have been easy and politically advantageous for me to join the effort to destroy Joe Biden's reputation/candidacy by portraying him as a touchy-feely womanizer pervert and the present effort to portray him as a racist. But I did not and will not do that because I have a conscience. Also, I believe in the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We need to stick to the issues, not carry out campaigns of personal vilification. Okay.
Can you say that well? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Thank you.
Basically, that's her whole that's been her whole stance the whole time. Like, she's been talking about service before self and all of this. So let me just kind of start talking about this letter. So basically, this was a letter that he
1977
sent, and he said, I want you to know that I very much appreciate your help during this week's committee meeting in attempting to bring my anti-busing legislation to a vote. I am hopeful that the bill can be voted out on the next meeting, and with your assistance, I am confident there is sufficient support for approval by the committee. Again, many thanks for your help. This is
So what is this exactly, fam?
This is just showing that he is working with segregationists to keep the anti-busing. Then there's this other letter where he specifically says, Mr. Chairman, you will recall the last fall you supported this bill, and I authorized to limit the use of busing as a remedy in school desegregation cases. Bill and I plan to attach S-1651 as approved by the Judiciary Committee as an amendment to S-1753 when that bill to extend the elementary and secondary education. This is as soon as it comes up for consideration by the full Senate. So he's pretty much telling the segregationists, your support is essential to have this bill reported by the Judiciary Committee. I want to personally ask your continued support and alert you to our intentions. Your participation in the floor debate would be welcome. So he's working with them and kind of reaching common ground as far as segregation goes. Yeah. That is a problem because obviously segregation was the wrong side of history. Standing for that is completely on the wrong side of history. And I know it's something that we can easily, a lot of people have feelings about. I know Nico House, and I'm not going to speak for him, but I know that he did not like this tweet. And there are many reasons for that, many reasons that we need to understand. But the fact of the matter is that Joe Biden is a segregationist. He has had racial, I mean, to me, he's a racist, but I can't really prove that. But from his actions, I've shown the racial bias that I see in him. And why make a tweet like right now, right in front of the debates? It's just like politically, it's not something smart to do. That's
let's
what
talk
pisses me
about
off
that
the
real
most.
quick, because you're saying it's not politically smart, and that's what I thought. We talked to Nico, too. He felt the same way. First of all, I want to say what's up to some of our people in the audience on a Sunday. It's so great to see you, Learned Hand. The one who knocks, Senator Stern but fair. I love that writer. Ghostwriter Duef. And Ruben Masagwa, who just said Tulsi should have left that alone. So
I agree.
There goes Ruben kind of agreeing with a lot of us. And that was like kind of what I felt. You said we get reactionary. We see a post. And that was the whole thing, was like, what? WTF? What are you doing? Why are you even saying this? Of all people, you are kind of like, protecting Joe Biden. And make no mistake of it, I think Tulsi's wrong. I think right here is evidence that Joe Biden did coddle. I don't know if he celebrated. I think he was more like pandering to people for money. That's what he did with the crime bill and stuff. Mm-hmm. He was always pandering for money. He was being a politician back in 1977. Not excusing it, but he did coddle. Mm-hmm. So I think Tulsi was wrong about that. But before we got to get into it, I think I just want to say reactionary right off the bat. I said the same thing. But what if, fam, she's trying to be this like independent, left-leaning kind of Donald Trump mentality where she says what's on her mind all the time. She doesn't hold back her punches. So if she feels that Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris were using this for political gain, which we'll get into once we start reading the tweets, why shouldn't she just say it?
Right.
A lot of people think she lost a lot of support on the left, and we know people in our bubble who are like, oh, that's it. That's the end. Sky's falling.
But they were looking for a reason to cancel her.
But you even said yourself when you were kind of correcting me, fam, you're like, no, there are some people that this is going to hurt her.
There are some people that
were on the fence.
There are some people that actually did donate to her campaign that said we will stop donating. And I get it. But to me, a tweet has very little importance to me in comparison to action. So let's go back to the tweet. Okay. Because the one thing she did mention was that we need to stand united. We need to come together as a country. United we stand, divided we fall. Bernie Sanders echoes his message time and time again. In fact, Bernie Sanders has talked about Joe Biden being his friend.
He said Joe Biden is my friend.
He said it multiple times.
He
did a tweet praising warmonger John McCain as also a hero and his friend. Yeah. I had a huge problem with that. He didn't speak out against Assange, and Tulsi did on Twitter, whatever it is. But I think there's a little bit of hypocrisy because why did Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris suddenly, all of a sudden, start talking about this? They've known Joe Biden for years.
Yeah.
They've been working with him for years. All of a sudden, they just hop out and start jumping on this whole wagon. It is for political gain. That's what she is right about.
Yeah.
They're totally doing this to manipulate that. And unfortunately, in my opinion, she kind of fell for it because it's now.
Well, she took the bait.
She's now turning, like they're now saying, "Oh, she's not as progressive as Warren," and that's ridiculous.
I'm so sorry to cut you off, fam, but could you go to my tweet real quick when I say this? And when fam just said, just go to my Twitter.
Sure, I gotta find it, but real quick.
Yes.
Can I clarify what in the tweet that she made?
Mm-hmm.
She said Warren, Kamala Harris, and Joe Biden did not celebrate or coddle segregationists. So what she's referring to is when Joe said
right, the video. I wish we could have found it.
I couldn't find the video. I'm still looking for it, but I found the article, and he said, where is it? He said he was recalling back in 1978.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I just had it right here.
Oh, right there. Biden said, "Go up the other way." The way. It says Biden said.
Oh, okay. He says, "I was in a caucus with James O. Eastland.
Yeah.
He never called me boy. He always called me son." I didn't like that.
That was a stupid and a very racist remark to make.
Biden said Wednesday, "The point I'm making is you don't have to agree. You don't have to like people in terms of their views, but you just simply make the case and you beat them."
Yeah, but you're right. You're right. She here's the thing. Her tweet, it was too out of context because she's speaking from a place where she thinks we know what she's referencing.
Yeah.
And of course, we all are applying it to Joe Biden's entire history as a segregationist. And that's what people are doing. Her tweet without context looks really bad. But once you put in the context, she's directly, specifically talking about that.
Yeah.
And this isn't, I'm not trying to excuse because I think it's a bad tweet.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But I still think that she was directly referring to that because that's what's been played around. Now, I think that Joe Biden saying that is completely he's completely elusive to how it comes off. Joe Biden, no excuses for him, but he comes from a different time where he might have been more progressive back then, the more progressive guy. And it's kind of sad to think about.
He might have been less war.
Bernie Sanders was continuously speaking out against what he was saying all the time. And so I think the fact that Joe Biden didn't realize that, even though there's no excuse, obviously this is how he's grown up, is what she's referring to. She's saying in that moment he didn't coddle these people. And I think that was completely out of context. She should have... That's what I meant. Yeah. She should have clarified with everything else.
Well, you know when they say that thing, fam, a little late to the party. And if you could put up my quick tweet real quick, and I said this, it's funny how now that Cory Booker and Elizabeth Warren never called out Joe Biden when he was Barack Obama's VP, okay? His segregations go back over 30 years ago, and that's where they're referring to, 1977, back then. Wait a minute. Not a single one of you who are now so vocal against Tulsi Gabbard ever said shit back when Barack Obama was making this man the second most powerful human being on the face of the fucking planet. But all of a sudden now you want to talk about the issues because you're using it for political gain. And Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and Elizabeth Warren are guilty as hell when it comes to pandering for votes.
And let me just add that I think Cory Booker was actually being sincere in how he felt. But I think it's very interesting to see the timing of all of this right now. Yeah. Like the timing of it coming out right now. And it's kind of funny because at the end of the day, Biden, Harris, Booker, Warren even, they're all like more aligned politically. Let's remember that Tulsi Gabbard is more of an independent thinker. She stepped down from power to help Bernie Sanders. She's definitely not, she's not taking corporate money at all. She's not funneling that through her. Like she's calling them out. I think it's pretty savage. She's calling them out.
She is.
Have you ever seen, a person like calls the establishment out like that?
Yeah.
I haven't. No. I think that's a pretty savage thing.
Really